So it goes 12C, and then McLaren started designing cars properly because personally I wasn't a huge fan of the 12C, how it looked, but after that they went like, they had the arch over the lights. I mean, I love after the 12C for me. They just look great, like 570, GT and the S, or I mean, just amazing cars with the carbon turbo and everything. So you went then to the
I got a
up again.
Yeah, so I got a 570 about a year after getting the MP4, and oddly enough, I got the 570 to replace the MP4, of course, but I didn't really like it. I didn't like the way it sounded. But the big difference was I didn't like the way it sounded compared to the MP4 12C. And, you know, you're probably familiar with it, but the 600 LT,
I love that car.
The 620R and the 570 are all basically the same car. And now forgive me here, but I'm telling you, they're not as good as the MP4. Right. You're not going to believe this. So when I was in Houston, I went down to Houston to get it. I took my MP4 down there for service, and this service tech, a young guy, comes out and he looks at my MP4 and he goes, "No, that's a real one." Now, granted, it was 6 years older. Yeah. It was, but I came to learn what he meant is it really was more. The 570 is kind of it's really just a dumbed down version. I mean, it looks cooler, but the MP4 12C is just way more of a supercar. I mean, it handles better, it sounds better. It might be faster. I mean, I could be, somebody's going to fact check me on that. I could be wrong, but it sure felt faster. I'll tell you that. So anyway, I actually ended up selling the 570 and kept the MP4 12C.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the ones I'm surprised that people don't talk about more often is the 675 LT.
Yes.
Because they didn't make that many of them.
Or the 650.
Right.
So in my opinion, the 650 or the 675, which is a very similar car, is the best car for the money. In fact, local guy, his name's Lance. The other day I was talking to him and he was like, "Man, should I get the 570?" I was like, "Dude, just get the 650." So it's the front. That car is the front of the P1. Yeah. And for anybody that doesn't know, the P1 is like the mother of all McLarens. Right. I mean, well, I guess the F1 technically, but the P1 is very awesome. So the 650 or the 675 is the front of the P1, and it's and then it's basically an MP4 12C. It's the back of the MP4 12C, and then the inside looks like the MP4. So it's beautiful, beautiful car, awesome car.
Yeah.
That would have been a way better move if I'd have known that. I would have gone from the MP4 12C to the 650 if somebody had told me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you didn't know the group at this point, or like the car group or did someone just say?
Nobody. Nobody told me. I just kind of ran down and got that, but it's the 650s. Yeah. And then of course you go to the 720, and that's
every man and their dog has a 720 in Oklahoma City now.
Yeah, that is weird. We need to open a McLaren Oklahoma City dealership.
There's like 15 of them now, right?
Yeah, you're not special anymore.
Doesn't matter what color you have.
That's basically the thing. At this point, it's like, what color did you get? Right. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. There's a bunch of them. So, I mean, somebody might be well served to get like get a Huracan, I guess, if you're thinking about getting one of those, just to have something
a little different. Yeah, but I mean, to that point, and people listening might even zone out at this point, but we're going to talk about cars because we love it. Is that like for the money, it is pretty much the fastest thing you can buy, right? 720, and a reliable one, and then. You thought, hang on a second, someone calls you up and says, "Hey, I have a build slot for a 765 LT."
So I am the luckiest guy you're going to meet today. So I was talking to McLaren Atlanta about a 620R. Yeah. And actually, the reason I want to get the 620R because I want to get something nobody else had. Right. And it's actually, most people probably don't know what that is. It's basically like a 600 LT, like.
It's a race car.
Yeah, it's more of a race car. Yeah, that's really cool. You know what that is, by the way. I actually didn't know what it was. I was looking through Auto Trader. I'm like, what is that? And
did they come with the livery already on them, or did they come just a blank color? Because the one I've seen is like black and yellow and has the hood scoop and everything, and just looks like a road going rocket ship.
Yeah, so they come with the nostrils in the hood. Right. I think they messed up because they should have done the the exhaust through the bonnet like they did on the 600 LT, but the exhaust comes out the back, which was kind of lame. But anyway, I mean, it's a track car, and it's cool because it's got a massive wing on it, and that's what the 570 is missing. It needs a wing, but the 620's got that. So I'm talking to him, and I said, hey, I was FaceTiming with him is what happened. And he just like pans past a 765. And I was like, dude, what was that? And he was, well, it's a 765, but don't even ask. And so I was like, is there any chance I could get a 765? I mean, it's just a stupid question. Right. And he was like, well, you might be the luckiest guy in the world because somebody had ordered one. And I'm not celebrating this, but I'm just telling you the story. Somebody ordered one, and they were in the restaurant business, and they had ordered it years before. But because they're in the restaurant business, they weren't going to be able to take delivery potentially. Right. And so I said, hey, I'm going to send you a deposit right now, even if, just let me be first in line.
Just to show I'm a serious buyer. Yeah, here's the money. Yeah.
So I sent them a deposit, and, so for anybody that doesn't know, they made 765. Approximately 200 of those made it into the United States. Mm-hmm. And then in order to get one, you have to get an allocation, which is very difficult. It includes, number one, knowing somebody and getting on this list, which certainly, wasn't going to happen. It was years ago. And then you have to prove that you've owned other McLarens. You have to send in a bio. They need to check that you're not a car flipper. And then the fact that I was too close to Dallas almost disqualified me. Okay. They were like, well, I don't know if we can sell one to Oklahoma City because that might upset Dallas, whatever. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting the allocation. Crazy deal. Flew out to Atlanta, picked it up. Yeah. Had some work done on it there, and then I flew back and had the car shipped back. So I was really excited to get it. I'll tell you, I wouldn't have. So the biggest favor that whoever ordered this thing did is I remember I asked the guy, hey, tell me about it, and they couldn't tell me anything. They're like, well, it's in production. We don't know. I'm like, well, hold on. Sure, you can tell me something.
Can I see the build sheet at least?
They didn't have the build sheet. Yeah. I was like, okay. And so I was like, well, what color is it? And they said, lime green. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, surely I can change that, right? Let me change it to anything but that. And they go, well, the problem is where it's at, and there's a lock on it. So as of like 2 months ago, you can't change anything.
Too far down the production line to change
it's too far down the production line. Yeah. So and they actually call it lime green on the sticker, but it's actually Napier green, which is a way cooler color. Right. It's like highlighter yellow almost.
It is highlighter yellow.
Yeah. Or I call it Ryobi green. I actually have a Ryobi sticker on the car. It's kind of funny. And everybody calls it the Ryobi car, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so that's actually turned out to be a favor because I never would have got that color. I would have gotten gray. Right. It's like my other two, they were gray. So I would have gotten gray for sure, which would have been like the worst possible choice. So anyway, it turned out good. It's been fun.
And it came with black wheels, and you put chrome ones on it, which makes the color pop even more.
So
chrome silver ones, right?
Yeah, I may have lowered it and done some other things that would probably void my warranty if I mentioned them. Yeah. But I did some work to it. I did some wheels, so it's really fun. They say it's the fastest production car ever made. It runs at 8.9 second quarter mile right out of the box.
It's rapid.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially to bring to work every day. Yeah. Which is one of the good things about it. We've spoken previously, right? Is the fact that you can drive it every day if you want to, and you don't have to worry too much about putting too many miles on it like other brands and drivers do, but people definitely appreciate seeing it. It always pops up on the Facebook group, wherever you're at, and